Welcome, rational thinkers and champions of evidence-based reasoning, to the Free of Faith podcast. This is the place where we dare to peel back the comforting but opaque layers of faith-based claims and expose their logical shortcomings. Today's topic is one that touches billions of people worldwide and gets right to the heart of divine justice. Would a truly compassionate God deem someone worthy of eternal punishment simply for reaching the wrong religious conclusion, despite how honestly that conclusion was reached? Let's start with a story. Imagine a thoughtful young woman named Mariam, deeply committed to figuring out what's true. Mariam was raised by a Christian mother and a Muslim father, both deeply devoted and convinced that if she opens her heart, their particular God will surely reveal himself. But what happens when both revelations seem equally compelling? Mariam reads both the Bible and the Quran. She attends church and mosque. She meditates, reflects, prays, and feels profound spiritual resonance in both spaces. But despite all this, she doesn't adopt one of the two gods. Instead, she does what any honest thinker should do in the face of conflicting claims and limited evidence. She assigns probabilities. About 45% for Allah, another 45% for Jehovah, and she humbly admits there's a 10% chance that neither is real. She is committed to the epistemically sound notion that rational belief is a degree of belief that maps to the degree of the evidence. So, here's the dilemma. Is that kind of intellectual honesty worthy of eternal damnation? Let's unpack this. Rationality demands proportional belief. That means, if the arguments and evidence for two religious claims appear roughly equal, there is no legitimate reason to default to one side. To demand that Mariam pick one or be tortured forever is not a display of divine love. It would be a distortion of justice. Any actual loving God would reward honest doubt, not punish it. The world is saturated with religious diversity. A person's region of birth is one of the strongest predictors of one's chosen religion. With this the case, why wouldn't a God who made this world understand that people's access to evidence for various gods is uneven and largely outside their control? There is no justice in punishing someone who sincerely believes that their family and community taught them the truth. Picture a game show. The host claims everyone has a fair shot at the prize. But then, only the contestants who speak one particular language are told the rules. Everyone else has to guess. When they lose, the host says,
"Too bad. You should have figured it out."
Fair? No. Yet this mirrors how salvation is presented by many Christians. Salvation requires belief in a specific message that is not accessible to every human. And then consider a judge. When someone commits a minor infraction, such as jaywalking, the judge sentences them to life in prison. Infinite punishment for a finite error. That's not justice. That's cruelty dressed in a robe. Yet this is precisely the logic behind eternal damnation. Infinite punishment for temporal uncertainty. And let's not forget the problem of spiritual experience. Many claim they felt God, whether Allah, Jehovah, or Krishna. But feelings are no evidence of truth. Feelings are shaped by culture, suggestion, and upbringing. The same emotional peace one Christian experiences during worship is experienced by a Muslim during prayer or a Hindu in meditation. If humans around the world claim the same feelings as proof of different gods, then feelings don't constitute evidence for any of them. So how can we judge truth amid these conflicting claims? Rational inquiry, probabilistic belief, intellectual humility. Mariam gets this. Her 45-45-10 model isn't indecision. It's epistemic integrity. She's done her homework, considered the arguments, and landed on a belief system that reflects the actual weight of evidence for each claim. She's open to adjusting her views if new information arises, but she refuses to pretend certainty when none is warranted. Her position isn't weak. It's courageous. It's honest. And it's exactly the kind of integrity we'd expect a just God to reward, not punish. And yet, traditional Christianity suggests otherwise. A great many Christians hold that the only path to salvation is full belief in Jesus as Lord and Savior. Not 45% belief, not probabilistic openness, total conviction. But let's ask, is that conviction expected to be real, or merely faked just to avoid hell? Because forcing someone to adopt a belief under duress isn't love, it's coercion. And coercion destroys the very authenticity that belief supposedly requires. Many, if not most, of those who reject Christianity do so not out of rebellion, but out of honest reflection. They have been exposed to contradictory claims and the lack of compelling evidence. Is God really asking us to suspend our reasoning, ignore our doubts, and commit our lives to a belief that fails to meet the basic standards of coherence and evidence? If we can't understand how justice and love are compatible with eternal damnation, we're not wrong to ask questions. We're completely right to rigorously map our degree of belief to the degree of the evidence as the confirming and disconfirming evidence arrives. If a deity exists, it would not demand evidence-independent belief under penalty of eternal torture. He would make his existence unequivocally known, provide universal access to truth, and judge us by our integrity, instead of by our inherited culture or religious exposure. The faith that exceeds the evidence is not our friend. We owe it to ourselves to rationally limit our degree of belief to what the balance of evidence supports. If this conversation has sparked some questions or even some discomfort, that's a good thing. Questioning is the first step toward clarity. Don't settle for easy answers or platitudes. Dive deeper, explore further, and demand evidence. Head over to Free of Faith to read the full article and join the discussion. Let's keep this conversation going, because the pursuit of truth doesn't stop at questioning. It's about finding answers that actually make sense. Thank you for tuning in to the Free of Faith podcast, where we expose the logical failings of faith and celebrate the clarity that comes with reason. Until next time, stay skeptical, stay curious, and remember, rationality always outperforms faith. Engage reality, and I'll see you soon.